Hey guys, thank you for joining us for another exciting episode of YOML. This is the Year of Entrepreneurial Learning podcast. We want to conclude our Shoe Dog episode. This is the second installment, the reflection two of Shoe Dog that we started yesterday. And so let's what Chris have in store for us today.
Yeah, we were just talking about this right before this call started. Rough day for me. Luca's sick. He got me sick. Working all day long, still doing the living for two stuff in the morning, doing the stuff at night. Even when it's a shitty day, it still is a pretty good day. It still feels like you can accomplish some stuff if you're purpose driven. And even when life tries to get you down a little bit. Actually, it's a good segue into this particular reflection about becoming a professor of the jungle. I just wanted to say that, we do this stuff every night, but if I was just tuning into this thing and following our lives, you'd be like, well, every day must be like easy peasy for these dudes. They do this every night, show up at the same time, get all the stuff done. So that's why we do it. So just a quick recap of Shoe Dog. It's a memoir about Phil Knight's, how he started Nike from Blue Ribbon Shoes is what they originally were called it, to it ultimately became Nike, and just the whole journey of him, selling shoes out of the trunk of his car at track meets to becoming a massive world, powerhouse company. It's such a good memoir, best memoir I've ever read. I highly would recommend it. I would highly recommend it to anybody that wants to check it out. But that said, our first reflection was about nature.
The bamboo tree.
Yeah, the bamboo tree, nature. And this one is about becoming a professor of the jungle.
The bamboo jungle, right?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, it kind of is. I got to read this passage. And by the way, I need your help. How do you pronounce this guy? When we get to this name, you pronounce it. So this is a passage from Shoe Dog. The year was 1997, still haunted by the Vietnam War. Knight had vowed that someday Nike would have a factory in or near Saigon. By 1997, he had 4. He was in Saigon. The company was to be honored and celebrated by the Vietnamese government as one of the nation's top 5 generators of foreign currency. At one point, his host graciously asked him what they could do for him and how they can make his trip more special and memorable. Phil Knight responded. He said, "I'd like to meet this 86-year-old General
Vo Nguyen.
the man who single-handedly defeated the Japanese, the French, the Americans, and the Chinese." Knight replied. General, is it Giap?
Yep.
Yep. General Yap joined the group the next day and waited for Knight to ask a question. It was simple. Knight asked, "How'd you do it?" The corners of Yap's mouth flickered. A smile, maybe. Knight recalled. Yap thought and said, he said, "a professor of the jungle." And do you know who this is? Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'd never heard of this guy before. What do you know about this guy?
He is a general for the North Vietnamese. Okay, he's the one that is responsible for the defeat of not the defeat, but without him, North Vietnamese has no chance.
Right.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I mean, in reality, the American withdraw the troops from Vietnam because of political kind of like turmoil in America, and Nixon decided to pull the troops. But he was the mastermind of all the different troops in the way they fight guerrilla warfare style, right? If you're talking about without the U.S. help, without the Russian and Chinese help on either side, and let the Civil War run on its own, Yap would have won the war because he's just very strategic and very genius in warfare. He's just that good, right? And so, in essence, he is the reason why the Vietnam War lasted that long.
Because he was a professor of the jungle.
Yes. So the thing is, you have to understand is I'm from the south of me, so he's not the guy I would want to say good things about. But I gotta give respect where respect is due. So he's really smart, intelligent, and like you said, not only he fights in the Vietnam War, but he also fights in the Japanese and the Chinese and all that before. So he is not a rookie in any sense when he was leading the troops of the North Vietnamese.
Interesting. So obviously you know who this guy is. For me, when I heard that quote, I don't have a dog in the fight in terms of North or South Vietnamese or whatever. I was just, that was the book that I was going off of at this point in time. In my personal opinion, I feel like this is like the essence of what life's about, right? Becoming a professor of whatever jungle you inhabit, right? And if you don't do it, what the hell are you doing? You have to figure out the source code of everything. You have to really understand how everything works as best you possibly can, and then understand what's most important to you. The jungle is a dangerous place if you don't walk in there with a purpose. I didn't grow up in the jungle. You probably have more thoughts about jungle life than I do. I've never grown up in that kind of environment, but I've read many books these days about the Amazon. It's just so infinitely complex, and everybody has a role to play in these environments. If they don't do their thing and they don't do it well, they'll die. That's the whole thing, is become a professor of the jungle. And the question then becomes how. So Phil Knight in this book talked about his answers: study and work. It goes back to The Biggest Bluff and less certainty, more inquiry. We talked about that on the beginning of this journey. Or Charles Darwin, just shut up and listen, on The Origin of Species, and just observe what's going on around you. Or just study, learn, literally read as many books as you can and understand what's going on in this world, and understand how our brains work, how we interact with the world. How does fungi work? How do trees work? How do beavers work? Whatever you can learn to arm yourself just a little bit more, so you can go and study and become that professor of the jungle, and then go try to apply that out there and figure out, like, hey, who am I and how can I fit into this environment and how can I add value to everything else out there? So, that's the most important part, is understand yourself, obviously, right? And how you enter into that jungle and how you interact with that jungle. So that was it. It's, become a professor of the jungle. I thought that was a brilliant line, and something that I found very, very, I don't know, there's something poetic about that, I guess, a little bit. So
Yeah, I think this line should be added to our library of the concept saying, we say, run for train,
Right.
run down hills. I think this belongs in it. And to me, this
Let's
has
do it.
become a professor of jungle. It's not really new in a way, just because you're talking about, he just makes it a little bit more clarify a little bit even further from what Sun Tzu say in the Art of War. So basically, what I say, as a military general or strategist, you have to understand your surrounding. You have to understand your
Yeah.
environment. So to plainly put it for us, as far as our perspective in what this line meant, is about us. It's all about alignment. You have to
Yeah.
align yourself with your environment. Like I said, you can't change a lot of things, but one thing we can change is we can change our environment. Because, like I
Right.
say, if you say I don't like the cold, right? You don't have to sit there and suck it up. You can say, well, I'm gonna move south, right? You can change your environment. I mean, in essence, like when I say you can change your environment, I'm not saying, hey, I'm gonna control the weather, but I can move myself to
Right.
a better place. In a way, yes, I can change my environment. In a way, I can't change
Oh,
my
you can totally change your environment. Like, you can
exactly.
surround yourself
So
with the people that care about the same stuff that you care about, or you can literally do the exact same job in one company and the exact same job in another company, and the culture and the environment and the people align to your values, and the other ones they don't. Now, that's not to say that the company will survive, because it's built on false principles anyway, but, like, at least for a time being, you can have meaningful work and meaningful relationships, and it's literally, you're the same person just transported into a different environment.
some environment can be harder for you because you don't have the characteristic that aligns with that environment. For example, a lot of people, like you're talking about the yellow fever, the native was not immune to that, could not take these kind of bacteria. So they basically die off from this European explorer bringing the new bacteria to the region. So
Right.
I think it's all about understanding what you can harmonize with in your surrounding. And if
Yeah.
you are in a jungle, what can you do? How can you change your environment so that that environment becomes an advantage for you versus a hindrance? Because
Right.
you're talking about somebody who's coming into the jungle who were never in the jungle, right? They cannot stand the humidity. They cannot stand all the different bugs that bite you. They cannot handle and withstand the things that these guys already been conditioned to basically not even like withstand. I mean, to them it doesn't bother them at all.
Right.
A lot of people, they are really bothered by the humidity, but if you're in the jungle all along, right? The jungle is basically your safe haven, right? Versus something that's dangerous, because you think about how the you're talking about, for example, we're talking about somebody, what was it, who went on the Appalachian Mountain Trail, right? You have to have the
Oh, yeah,
guide,
Bill
right?
Bryson. Yeah.
Yeah, Bill Bryson, right?
Yeah.
You gotta have the guide. So the guy knows certain thing because they understand. Hey, when this happened, this is more likely possibility is gonna be the next event that gonna come after you see some sign. So there's some of these signs that you see as well. So it's all about being in harmony with whatever it is that you want to put yourself in or take yourself out. Because, like I said, if you're in a place where that is not what people value, then you gotta take yourself out to a place where people do value you. Because
Right.
to me, that's the essence of what I see in company. It's like a lot of times you go to a company and you work for them, they don't value the effort you bring, because to them, they don't.
You.
That's not
Yeah.
aligning with what they're looking for. So they can say,
Right.
well, I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how great you are.
I
I
just
only
want a
pay you.
mercenary. Yeah.
I only pay you this much to that
Right.
much. But when you bring it into company where we say, well, what's your alignment? What is the thing that you do best? Are you a beaver, right? If you're a beaver, I'm gonna put you into a river with cool water, with a lot of trees, with a lot of branches where you
Right.
can thrive. I'm not gonna put you in the tundra, in the snow, in the desert, in the places where it's becoming difficult, the most difficult thing for you to be. So you can't not be something that you don't align with. Meaning, like, for example, first and foremost, it's about whether or not you understand who you are, right? If you say you're a beaver, right?
That's number one. That's number one thing that we do that's different is we help you to understand
Are you a
you
beaver? Are
yourself
you a
else, you know?
lion? Are you
Like,
an
yeah, right.
eagle? Are
Like
you
help you to discover
a
that for
rat?
yourself.
Right?
Right.
And the thing is, that's a first and foremost the only.
Yeah, don't ever walk into the jungle unless you know who you are. Like, don't ever do it. Like, I mean, you just cannot do that. Like, I mean, if you don't know yourself, like before you
But
walk into that jungle,
that's the beauty of it,
fuck.
because these guys here, right? You talk about in general in the war, in terms of the war, right? These guys lives in the jungle. They
Right.
have been in jungle and they've been conditioned for it. If I was the American, I was the South Vietnamese, right? Because South Vietnamese, they don't live in the jungle; they live in the city.
Right.
So if that's the case, I wouldn't go into the jungle to fight you. I just would. I just
Right.
bulldoze the whole fucking jungle to lure you out, because you have to fight in your best element. And so that
Right.
translates to today's standard, meaning that what you want to do is you have to be in your best environment. That means that when you choose a career, when you choose a group of people you want to hang out with, you have to choose them carefully. And the sad thing about this is that people probably spend more time studying a vacation spot than they were studying the job they would take or the place they will live with. I'm guilty of this, and I don't know if I can fix it, but I never chose the environment where I live. I just happened to say, hey, there's a job here. I go work here, and then I met my wife, and then we married. We stay here. We didn't go anywhere. We never thought about it, and that's the sad part of it. Did you ever ask yourself, how much time do you study the city and the job or the company that you want to work for, and more than you did on your vacation? I probably spend like, people spend like a couple of weeks. Sometimes people spend like half a year just to,
Right.
pin different interesting spots and learning what to do, what you want to do there. People even learn a fucking language just to go to visit a place. But when you take a job and you sit there for like 50 years, the reason why you took that job because they offered it to you. So don't you think that's the saddest part?
I think that's a really good point. I mean, that's actually one of the things I struggled with most of my life before, like Amelia, I would say, is I used to always call myself like just dumb lucky, in general. Like I didn't pick where I went to school. Like I just was like, Purdue's a good school. My family went there. And I applied. I got in. That's the only school that I applied to. No joke. Like that's the only school that I applied to, and it's a good school. But like, I was like, oh, I'll go be a management major. I thought I maybe wanted to be a lawyer. I'll just study business until I get out of school. Somebody offered me a job up in South Bend. It sounds cool, so I'll go up there. I went up there, ended up at Angie's List. I got to get back home. I never, ever, ever chose any of these things. I always made the most of it wherever I went, and I made it successful and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed those processes. But to your point, I never, ever, like, even my I didn't even pledge a fraternity. I pledged one fraternity, the one that I joined. Like I was like,
Say,
hey,
you didn't have a list of fraternity, these are, you say, somebody's in there, let me try it, let me
Yeah.
actually see. And that's the thing, is like, so the thing is, you did that and it was pretty good, right?
It
So
was pretty good.
my question to you is, what if you had figured out what you really wanted?
No, I mean,
What
totally
would you think
different. Yeah.
happens to your life if you knew exactly what it is you wanted?
Yeah, I mean, well, here, this is the
Because
one
the thing
thing I
is,
would
to
tell.
me, you're gonna be a different person today.
100%. I mean, like the one thing I would enhance as to what you were saying before is I don't think when you know yourself and you walk into the right jungle that you want to play in, like you just find the other people find you. The right environment finds you, right? Like when you know that you're playing in the right jungle, I guess it just finds you. Like I mean, it
I
doesn't.
mean, it's called the attraction, because
Right,
you're gonna attract to the people who need you. If
right,
you put yourself out as this person, right? Let's say you are the best like deep sea diver, right? and somebody found a fucking treasure, right? They're gonna seek you out. They say, hey, he's the best at
Right.
seeking, like go down to the bottom of the ocean. They're gonna seek you out. It's called attraction. You
Or you just
basically
naturally come
declare
across each other.
yourself. You declare yourself and say, hey, this is who I am. Because the thing is in like I can tell you this as well, in business that I've run, like I can't sell shit. Like can't
That's
sell.
not true. That is not true.
Okay. And so all the clients,
that's what you're telling yourself. That is not
no,
true.
but
Yeah.
let me kind of give you what I'm trying to get at is most of the client that comes to me was not because I sold them anything. It's
No,
because they
you did
knew
what you, yeah, exactly.
somebody who saw the work that I did,
Right.
and they comes to me and ask me, hey, are you interested and are you available to do this? That's all. I mean, most of the job came from that. I have never ever gotten a job by going out and soliciting anyone. So I guess 100% of my client in my past business was 100% referral. Somebody
Right.
referred, and most of the time they would beg to work with me. Say, hey, I really need your help. And a lot of time I took the job because the thing is, I mean, most of the job becomes like this. There's this bug. I can't fix it. No one can fix it. I need you to look at it. Okay, can you fix it? So it goes from like, hey, look at it, into hey, can you fix it? It's gonna take you a week. Hey, another
Right.
month, and then hey, I asked some other stuff, and it turned to 5 years. So that's the thing is most of the time I took a job just because they say, well, I'm desperate. I don't have anyone because, like I said, most of the job I took is called remedial because I'm fix something that they desperately need. Like let's say an app, right? An app goes
Right.
on a store and it crashes, and you have like hundred of thousand of user. They can't use the app, so people can't do any business because the app is broken, right? And so what happens if you have that app crashing for 6 months, you make no money. So they're pretty
Right.
desperate. So
Yeah.
if they comes to me with that, right? So the thing is, well, it doesn't hurt if I look at it, right?
Right.
So I
Yeah.
did. I looked at it and I said, well, I think this is a problem. Now fix this piece and it'll work. And I said, well, why don't you fix it? Okay, fine, I'll fix it. Here you go. And then they
Right.
say, well, I have other stuff. Can you add this? Can you add that? And then eventually it keep turning into more and more work until the point where you have to say, well, I'm out of bandwidth. I can't take any more work.
Right.
But that's
Yeah.
the thing is, so that's why I say when you declare yourself as something great, like that means like if you're a beaver, right? And somebody needs you to do something in the water, they can say, hey, go ask Mr. Beaver. Who's gonna ask you to do anything in the water?
No one. I mean, the professor of this jungle is not going to go to Desert Storm.
Exactly.
You got, but there's certainly a professor of the desert somewhere, I'm sure. And there's a
professor of
like
the jungle, the environment that
the mountains
you're
in
for.
Afghanistan. Like hell, that war in Afghanistan. I don't even know how many Taliban fighters there were, but no, it's
See,
not
the
much
thing is,
different.
if you want to fight the Vietnamese, right? Take him to the snow.
Yeah, that's good. I drop snow on top of them.
Yeah, just make it cold. They can't do
Yeah.
shit. You
Right.
can put it like 100 degree, whatever. They say
You live in Houston because it's humid and hot.
Houston is nothing compared to Vietnam.
Houston's
Vietnam is
awful. For me,
100%
like
humid.
it's
And the thing is,
Houston's
you have to
disgusting.
understand is in Houston, most of my American friends, right? They walk out the building and they completely sweat, and I'm completely dry. I say, "What the hell is you guys? How do you get sweat? You didn't do anything." But that's how the body reacts to it. My
Right.
body is conditioned for that, right? I don't even break a sweat in humidity because it was much less than in Vietnam. Because in Vietnam, it rains every 2 hours.
Right. No, I believe you. My sister lived over in Thailand for like 3 years, and I remember she was over there and she was like, "Oh man, the weather over here is like they have two seasons. It's like hot or hotter, It's just like fucking hot, like and humid, rains all the time, whatever." But yeah, no, for me, like Houston's awful. Ironically, like, where some of my heritage is from, very dry places. So I think that comes with you,
Your body, beaver has the waterproof pelt, right?
Right.
They can swim in the water. They can stand in water for hours without having pruny fingers or whatever. Imagine you throw a line into the water. It can't stand it for even for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is the line is weak in the water, right? You throw the line in the water, the fish were gonna pick up, piranha, for example, we're gonna pick up the line like nothing, like dinner.
Right.
And line is helpless against that. So you're looking for the environment where it is your place to thrive. Just like I told you about, a fish out of water, or a monkey climbing a tree. You're asking a fish to climb a tree. You can ask a monkey to swim in the ocean or the river or whatever. That's not his natural environment. He cannot thrive in it. So that first and foremost is understand and figure out who you are. And second, what is the environment that's most suited for you? If you
Right.
do that, that's essentially saying you're becoming a professional of the jungle because I mean, the thing is, he is already adjusted to the jungle, but then he also
Studies it.
study
Yeah. Right.
to become even more aligned with the things in the jungle. So that's why
Right.
they're able to play guerrilla warfare with the American troops, and they can't
Right.
make them surrender because the people still fighting back. And if you
Right.
can't find them, if you can't find them, how are you going to shoot them?
Great question. I think this is a really good lesson in general. And I know this has nothing to do with Nike, the story of Nike, but Phil Knight was a study and work.
Oh no, but Nike does that. They study in their environment, and even in today, they are very well versed in what they want to do, right? They understand what they want to do, what kind of image they want to portray, and they do that very well. You know, even if you look at the stocks right now, it's doing well in a downturn economy right now.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about Nike, right? Nike shoes is not cheap. So these are luxury items. And even in the bear market, like in 2001 and 2002, it is upticking and the stock is uptrending.
Right.
I mean, so they understand their environment very well. They understand who they are, right? And they understand their environment very well. When you think about Nike, what do you think about?
Well,
You think about chip
shoes, quality shoes, like, you know, I love
it's
their dry fit clothes.
quality. You're talking about
Right.
performance. That's the image that comes to your head. But when you say Nike, when you imagine some athlete is really, top of his or her game, and he's doing, basketball, football, track and field, whatever it is. It's the elite, the image of top performance.
Yeah.
You don't associate Nike with a knockoff Chinese sweatshop or anything like that. You
Right.
only do that when you buy things like knockoff stuff from Alibaba, from AliExpress or whatever. Nike is performance, and Nike is
they're very innovative too. They changed running shoes forever.
That's the thing. That's the image, though. You're talking about an image of breaking records, right?
Right.
Breaking records in track and field, breaking records in basketball, breaking records in innovation.
Mhm.
That's the same image. It's the same. I mean, for them inside the company is, we are supposed to innovate. We're supposed to make athletes even better. So that means that the same core values applies inside the company, understanding who you are and becoming better with what you're doing. So
Actually,
they
I wonder what
are
Nike's
doing the company service by providing that as a core value, as a culture.
Oh, there you go. Inspiration, innovation, authentic, connected, distinctive.
Yeah, I mean, it has to come with innovation because that's I mean, when you're talking about the image of Nike, right? You're talking about helping athletes do more, be better, right? Breaking record. So that image comes from within the company. That means that they are going to have to innovate. So the company has to run better, faster, and more quality. So, I mean, that's that. It basically transcends wherever you are, whether you're a company, whether you're an athlete, whether you're some, whatever profession that you're in that involves Nike.
Well, I think that's a good place to stop for the night.
Sleep is important.
Yeah, I can sleep at this point in time where neither one of them are happy. So, but no, I think that's a great place to stop. We added one to your truisms to become a professor of the jungle. And yeah, I think it's a great lesson in general. So the question we can leave for everyone is, what steps are you taking to become a professor of whatever jungle you inhabit? The proverbial jungle. It doesn't have to be a jungle, but you get it. Whatever that jungle is.
Yeah, you should. Jungle is essentially your environment. So whatever environment that you're supposed to be in, like I say, if you identify yourself as a beaver, right? Don't go to the tundra. Don't go to the desert. And so don't even tempt it.
I got this amazing
land or whatever.
Yeah, man. When you're talking to your buddy in the Great Lakes region, and he's like, I don't want to go to Antarctica. No, they're gonna pay me a shitload, like a shitload, man. I'm gonna be able to build dams. I'm gonna make so much money. I can come back here. I can build 20 dams.
And you have first pick of everything because no one's there, right? You're the first one. You go there and then you go. I mean, you basically gonna croak.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's not your environment. You're just frozen to death.
And if you do survive, then you'll be, into the thin air book or something like that, where the other beavers are back there talking about you, going, what the hell is he doing? Why is he even up there? Like, why is he doing this to himself? Anyway, I'm joking. That was a synopsis of our reflection from Into Thin Air about the disaster of 1996. So awesome. All right, well, that's a good place to stop for the night. Thanks always. That was fun, and it's always good to do this, no matter how I'm feeling. So I appreciate you always being there. And yeah, we'll see you all tomorrow.
Likewise, man. Good night.